I like the news that like ends up like the memes on social media. I like the silly news. That's the stuff that I like. My personal favorite, recently, there was a news story about a young lady that had to be rushed through a Brazilian airport with a terrible like gastrointestinal thing. I know she had a rupture or something like that. But they took her to like a little makeshift hospital in the airport, and through the diagnosis process or whatever came out, that part of the issue that attributed to her condition was she had held in fart too long that had caused an issue with her insides because she was too embarrassed to let it out in front of her new boyfriend. Imagine being at that point in your relationship. Meanwhile, me and my wife are trying to time our farts at night with the oscillating fan above our bed. It's just a tornado of stink trying to smoke the other person out up there. Hey babe, is there sexy time tonight? No? It's good because I can't see anyways. Holy hell, what did you eat? Good Lord of the morning. And I mentioned my beautiful wife there, also celebrating another very fun anniversary. Me and my wife Addie are celebrating 2 years of marriage together. So, God bless her. Thank you much. Addie is awesome. She's the best person I know, and more than anything, she taught me what true love is. And after all the bad dates and all the bad relationships, that's a really valued thing. So if you have a partner, value that true love. And I can pinpoint the moment when she taught me what true love really is. And we were lucky enough to take a honeymoon to Mexico a couple years ago. And as we're planning that, because I am a child of the 80s, I wanted to buy a pair of Don Johnson white beach pants from Miami Vice. Surprisingly enough, she had zero issue with the pants, but she looks at me and says, Brady, if you're going to wear those pants, you need to buy white underwear to go underneath, because if you wear your colored underwear, you're going to look even more ridiculous than you do wearing the pants. Fair enough. So I went to Kohl's and bought one pair of tidy whities, threw them in the carry-on, thought we're good to go. A couple days later, I come home from work in our apartment at the time, and on the island in our apartment, there is a stack of tidy whities there. I said, babe, why'd you waste the money on those? He told me to go out and buy a pair. I went and bought a pair, threw them in the carry-on, we're good to go. And she looked at me with the most loving look that another human being has ever looked at me in my life. He looks at me and goes, Brady, I love you more than anything. But in the 5 years that we have been together, you have sneezed and accidentally shit your pants on 3 different occasions. That is true love right there. And that should have been her wedding vows. And sickness doesn't help until death do us part. I know every sneeze is a gamble. Here's a stack of tidy whities for your inevitable accidental sharks. I do. So cheers to Addie for teaching me what true love is. God bless you. I also, I look back on it, though, with the anniversary. I look back on our time together and, like, the wedding planning. We watched our wedding video. That was a lot of fun. But reminiscing about all those wonderful memories about wedding planning. That was a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed it because it's something that you hopefully only get to do once in your life. And going through, thinking about all those things, the one part that I really did like is like, well, we have X budget or whatever where we spend our money. So I'm asking all of our friends, married friends, where's the best place to spend your money for your wedding? And through, men, women, right down the line, they're like, make sure you get a good photographer. You get somebody that can capture all of those memories so that when you're together in 30, 40, 50 years, you can look back on and relive that special day. More importantly, make sure you find somebody that's a professional photographer that can capture that moment when you see your beautiful bride walk down the aisle for the first time, especially if you're not going to see her beforehand, so they capture your expression so you can relive that moment. I said, that sounds great. Sign me up for that. Get the pictures back. And she did a wonderful job. She captured every memory, and we still get teary-eyed looking through them. And in that stack of 2,000 pictures, though, there's one picture of me seeing my beautiful bride come down the aisle for the very first time. And it was a close-up of this face here. She's like, what do you think? I'm like, I think I paid $2,000 to learn I'm an ugly-ass crier. That's what I think. And if that's the face I made at the happiest moment of my life, God forbid, whatever ghoulish face she sees during sexy time, because I can't imagine it's any better than that. Holy mother of God. Whew. Not good. But Addie was the first woman that I lived with when we first started dating and we moved to Minnesota. So all these people telling us, and to me specifically, they're like, Brady, it's the first time living with a woman. It's going to be the most difficult thing you ever do. Living with a woman for the very first time. I'm like, really? It's going to be the most difficult thing that I've ever done. I grew up the youngest of 4 brothers in the 80s. I was the last one to shower in the morning, and we had 1 bar of soap. Watching that little hair make its way down the side of the shower, trying to get it with the little hose. I think it can only go up from here, folks. So I'm like, I don't think living with a woman can be that bad. I lived with all males my entire adult life until I met Addie, all through college and then post-college. I lived with my best male friend in Stevens Point so long, people started to call us Bert and Ernie. I thought it was funny. I looked at him one time, I'm like, so which one's Bert and which one's Ernie? He looks at me and goes, it doesn't matter. You know you've lived with your male friend too long, your best male friend too long, when your mutual friends that start getting married said you won wedding invitation. Time to hit the bricks, Ernie. Get the hell out of here. Gotta move on. It was not the most difficult thing in the world. It was just different. And that's what I found out right away living with Addie. It was just different conversations that I did not have with all of my guy roommates up to that point in my life. And it's not a bad thing, but it's a learning process, right? You learn about each other. Like when she came home from work one day and said, so Brady, is there a particular reason that you used our $50 steak knife to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Didn't clean the peanut butter off and then left it balancing on the middle of the sink like a teeter-totter? I said, well, a knife is a knife, and you never know when you're going to want to make another hammer. And the look in her eyes told me, I'm like, oh, they're going to find peanut butter in my autopsy. Because she's going to stab me with that damn thing. Noted. A couple days later, she comes home and says another little observation. She goes, so Brady, is there any particular reason that you have the toilet paper coming from underneath instead of over the top on the roll? I said, well, I didn't really think it made a difference. I said, but I can see where this is going. I said, so you, Addie, I said, you make a list of anything and everything that you want me to do, because I want this to be the happiest union it could possibly be forever and ever. If you will do one little favor for me, and you'll clean that gob of hair out of the shower drain, so when I turn it on, it doesn't look like a rat making a prison break through my legs. She's kind of taken aback. She looks at me, and she's a little offended, and she's like, well, how do you know it's mine?